The last thing my father said to me before he shut the door was, "Don't come back until you're ready to tell the truth." I was 22 years old, standing on the porch with a duffel bag at my feet, the late October wind slicing through my jacket. Inside the house, my mother was crying. My sister, Hannah, was upstairs. And I was suddenly homeless. The lie had come 2 days earlier. Hannah burst into the kitchen in tears, mascara streaking her cheeks, hands trembling. She told our parents I had stolen money from her, $5,000 she'd been saving for a study program abroad. She said she'd left it in her desk drawer, and when she came back from a weekend trip, it was gone. "I saw him in my room," she whispered dramatically. "He was the only one home." That was true. I had been home, I'd been folding laundry, but I had never stepped into her room. I laughed at first when my father confronted me. I thought it was absurd. We, grown up in a modest house where $5,000 might as well have been $5 million, why would I risk everything for that? But Hannah cried harder. She swore on everything sacred. She said she had no reason to lie. And then she said the words that sealed my fate. "He's always been jealous of me." Jealous of her scholarships, her internships, her polished reputation. Hannah was the golden child, disciplined, ambitious, articulate. I was the mechanic's son who preferred engines to economics textbooks. My parents didn't call the police, they didn't search for proof, they didn't check bank withdrawals or question timelines. They chose her. "Until you admit what you did," my mother said, not looking at me, "we can't trust you in this house." I packed that night. I waited for Hannah to stop me, to confess, to crack. She never did. The first year on my own was brutal. I slept in my car for 3 weeks before an old high school friend let me crash on his couch. I worked double shifts at a garage, hands bleeding and raw, swallowing my pride every time someone asked why I'd dropped out of university. Because I hadn't stolen anything. But explaining that felt pathetic. People believe families, they believe sisters. I stopped calling home, they never called me. I heard through relatives that Hannah went abroad anyway, that she was thriving, that my parents were proud. It felt like someone had erased me. So I built something new. I saved every dollar, took certification courses at night, learned diagnostics, electrical systems, hybrid engines. Within 3 years, I was managing the garage. By year 4, I'd opened my own small shop on the edge of town. The day I hung the sign with my name on it, I realized something strange. I didn't hate them anymore. I just didn't need them. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon in early spring. I almost didn't answer. I didn't recognize the number. "Is this Daniel Carter?" The voice was urgent, clinical. "Yes." "This is Mercy General Hospital. Your sister, Hannah Carter, was brought into the emergency room. She listed you as her emergency contact." I felt the air leave my lungs. "I think you have the wrong person," I said automatically. "She specifically requested you. She's in critical condition." Critical. The word echoed. I hadn't seen Hannah in 5 years. "Is she?" My voice cracked. "Is she alive?" "She is, but we need a family member here as soon as possible." I don't remember locking up the shop. I don't remember the drive. I only remember the red glow of brake lights and the tremor in my hands. Mercy General's ER smelled like antiseptic and fear. When I stepped through the sliding doors, I saw them immediately. My parents. They looked smaller. My mother's hair was almost entirely gray now. My father's shoulders stooped in a way I didn't remember. They stared at me like they'd seen a ghost. "Daniel," my mother whispered. No one moved for a moment. Then a doctor approached. "Are you Daniel Carter?" "Yes." "Your sister is in acute liver failure. We believe it's autoimmune. She deteriorated rapidly over the last 48 hours. She needs a transplant." The word landed heavy. "We've tested immediate family," the doctor continued. "Your parents are not compatible. According to her records, you are her only sibling." My father blinked. We didn't know who else to call. But that wasn't true. Hannah had known. She had listed me. "She asked for you," the doctor added gently. "Is she conscious?" I asked. "For short periods." They led me back. Hannah lay in a hospital bed, skin tinged yellow, dark circles carved deep under her eyes. Tubes snaked from her arms, machines beeped softly. She looked fragile, smaller than I remembered. When her eyes fluttered open and landed on me, tears immediately spilled down her temples. "You came," she whispered. I stood frozen at the foot of the bed. "Why am I your emergency contact?" I asked quietly. Her lips trembled. "Because you're the only one who would." Silence stretched between us. "I didn't steal your money," I said. Her face crumpled. "I know." The words hit harder than any accusation ever had. "I was stupid," she rasped. "I'd lost it, I panicked, I told them you took it because they'd believe me." The machines beeped steadily, indifferent to 5 years of silence. "I was going to tell them," she continued weakly, "but then you left and it got bigger and I didn't know how to fix it." 5 years. 5 years of exile because she didn't know how to fix it. "You let them throw me away," I said. Her hand twitched toward me, I didn't take it. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I've been sorry every day." A nurse stepped in to adjust a monitor. I stared at my sister, the girl who used to braid my hair when I was little, who used to sit on the garage floor and hand me wrenches just to feel included. And I saw fear. Not manipulation. Fear. "You need a transplant," I said flatly. She nodded. "They said you might be a match." The testing took hours. Bloodwork, imaging, consultations. I sat alone in a sterile room while technicians moved efficiently around me. I thought about sleeping in my car. About watching my parents choose her. About the humiliation of being cast out without proof. I thought about the garage, the sign with my name on it, the life I'd built. And I thought about the girl in that hospital bed who had once saved her allowance to buy me a birthday gift when our parents couldn't afford one. People are rarely only the worst thing they've done. A doctor finally entered. "You're a compatible donor." Of course I was. My father stood when I walked back into the waiting area. "You don't have to do this," he said, voice thick. I studied him, this man who had taught me how to ride a bike, who had refused to hear me 5 years ago. "I know," I replied. My mother was crying openly now. "We were wrong," she said. "We should have listened, we were scared, we didn't want to believe." "You believed what was easier," I said quietly. They had no defense for that. "Will you let us make it right?" my father asked. I looked toward the hallway that led to Hannah's room. "I'm not doing this for you," I said. "I'm doing it because I refuse to be the kind of person who lets someone die when I can help." The surgery was scheduled for dawn. As they wheeled Hannah past me toward the operating room, she reached for my hand. "I don't deserve this," she whispered. "No," I agreed, "you don't." Her eyes filled again. "But I'm not doing this because you deserve it," I added. "I'm doing it because I deserve to live without hate." For the first time in 5 years, she gave a small, broken smile. Recovery was painful. For both of us. I woke up sore, stitched, exhausted, but alive, whole in a strange, new way. The transplant was successful. Hannah would need medication for the rest of her life, monitoring, discipline. But she would live. A week later, she asked our parents to leave the room. When we were alone, she handed me an envelope. Inside was a cashier's check. $5,000. "I found it 2 days after you left," she said. It had fallen behind my desk. I stared at it. "I've carried this for 5 years," she continued. "I kept meaning to send it, I was ashamed." "You should have been," I said. She nodded. "I told them everything," she added, "the truth about the money, about lying." I let out a long breath I didn't know I'd been holding for half a decade. "They're going to try to fix things," she said cautiously. "I'm not coming back home," I replied. "I know. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it isn't pretending something didn't fracture. It's choosing not to let the fracture define you." 3 months later, Hannah came to my garage. She looked healthier, stronger, scar visible just beneath her collarbone. She stood under the sign with my name on it and smiled. "I'm proud of you," she said. It was something I'd waited years to hear. "You should have been," I replied. "We're not what we were." My parents call now, carefully, slowly rebuilding. Trust doesn't regrow overnight. But sometimes it begins in an emergency room under fluorescent lights when the person who was cast out becomes the only one who stays. 5 years ago, they shut the door on me. 5 years later, I held it open. And that made all the difference.